when it comes to the red zone, you can run in there, you can pass it in. When you guys are in those situations and you can't really budge them and they're getting penetration, what can you do in the future to combat that and be a better red zone team? Right now, I think it's 31st.
Yeah, not good enough, obviously. Be able to every week, depending on what teams do, we're trying to find the best thing to do. We're inside the one last week. We didn't punch it in, disappointing. I think ask everybody to a man, like we got to get a yard, and we didn't do that. We didn't execute. We hurt ourselves with penalties. So we got to be better, starting with me, starting with our staff, starting with all of us players. We got to do a better job of that. Those are points at stake there, and talk about trading field goals for touchdowns, and cumulatively it adds up, and want to be better than that. So pretty straightforward there.
We hear the word a lot with not just you, but football coaches in general. The best you can, what does execute mean?
Execute means doing your job, okay, the way you're supposed to do it, with technique, with precision, and with great effort, and the way it's supposed to be done. And so penalties, poor technique, mental errors fall into those things. That's what it means.
Is there, because it feels like, what if the process up to setting them up to execute is not in check? Because a lot of times it feels like it's almost like excluding the whole practice process, to where they got to do what we say they got to do. And
I take accountability for, if that's what you're implying. I take accountability starting with me on this. It's the entire operation. So we've got to do a better job. We got to find better ways to ultimately get the ball across the goal line. Understand the intent of what you're asking, but you're asking me about execution physically. That's what it means. We also have to put ourselves in position to be able to find different ways to score. And so it hasn't been good enough. I definitely agree with that, no doubt about it. And that's the quest, is to do that for sure. It's a whole thing. Yeah, it's how you practice. It's how you approach everything, and then ultimately, when you get an opportunity for 60 minutes on Sunday, you got to go do it. And haven't done a good enough job of that. So.
I was just going to ask you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
You all have over multiple weeks been rotating the offensive lineman, and Lakin Thompson and Juice Scruggs out of the left guard position. And what is the difficulty in doing that same exact thing, like when you have a player like Christian Kirk and Jaylen Null, and 1 week, of course, with Christian being out, he got all of these touches, and then the next week, his routes and targets, they drop. How do you
you try to find, I think, you try to find balance. That's the question. Was it, is it perfect? No. Do some games dictate in situations in different groupings that you might go a different way? Sometimes it happens like that. We have a lot of confidence. We talked about the depth of the receiver position. We've got a lot of confidence in all those guys. So we try to create balance so we're not wearing anybody else out. We feel good about the depth of the outside to inside and the flex guys, and just trying to, obviously get whoever we can out there that's going to help us from week to week. And sometimes it gets a little more lopsided than you want, and sometimes you get it closer to how you envision it going into the game, but nothing's perfect, and we're always striving to get our guys involved. We got everybody at the game. We're going to try to use as many people as we can to help us. So,
what does it take to get Jaylen Null more routes and more offensive snaps, and kind of do you hope to this game or more games going forward use him more?
Yeah, no, I mean we love Jaylen Null. Like we plan for him. He's got a role in our offense, and I mean he'll continue to do that, and he's done a really good job for us, and he'll continue to do a good job for us. So again, it's sometimes it gets a little lopsided, but it's not due to the fact that we have less faith in him versus somebody else or anybody else. We have a lot of faith in those guys, especially Jaylen too.
Going into the Broncos game, Sean Payton was praising the defense, you guys' defense. Saying it's week 9, so the DNA is the DNA. What is the DNA on the flip side of this offense, and what about Sunday's offense that we saw? Would you say, to make your argument, that that's not the DNA of this offense?
Yeah, what I would say is, a physical outfit that wants to run the ball downhill, okay, starting with that with change-ups, okay? We did not run the ball well enough, okay? I would say that starting off. And then we've shown the ability to drive the football, okay? We haven't been able to finish well enough, which has been disappointing. So we've got to do a better job of that, again, starting with me, standing here, okay? And we own that.
Most of the good things that you guys were able to do on Sunday would happen on the earlier downs. You had a lot of success on first and second downs. Of course, you know what the numbers are for on third down. And specifically in the red zone. What's working for y'all on those early downs, and then what's not working for y'all in the later downs? I know you had a fourth down conversion, but the later downs and specifically in the red zone.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think we've shown the ability to be able to hit our double teams and be able to move the ball throughout the year and have good moments where we have run the ball efficiently. I think what has hurt and hindered at times is when you get into longer yardage situations, and that could be not necessarily due to the run game. That could be, swinging and missing on incompletions and being backed up in early downs, which gets you to 2nd and 10 pluses, and then you get into long yardage situations in 3rd down, and that's a tough way to live. So trying to be able to get us into 3rd and manageable or skip 3rd downs is always what we're trying to obviously do. So it makes it a heck of a lot harder when you're not able to be as efficient on 1st and 2nd down, to answer your question.
What does Davis do well at the quarterback spot, and where do you have confidence in his game?
He's a pro's pro. He's really smart. He approaches every single day with the right attitude. He's locked in, and he handles everything. Operation, he's into the game. He's into the game plan. He studies football. I have a lot of faith in him. I mean, he's been awesome to be around. Took a lot of reps, obviously, in the spring. So this week will be a great opportunity for him to obviously get the bulk of the reps. But I have a lot of faith in him. I mean, he's sharp. The mechanics of playing the quarterback position, he does extremely well. He's a competitor. He takes a lot of pride in it, has great rapport. He's a good communicator, and he's got good talent. He can throw the ball. He's played the game. He's played plenty of football before. So, and we're lucky to have him, and I'm excited to just continue to work through the week. He's done a really nice job.
Hey, Nick, what has changed, if anything, about you and your approach to calling games from the beginning of the year to now? Where has there been growth or change? Have you said I had to do this differently?
Yeah, I think really just trying to find different ways to be able to try to get us over the hump. I mean, every week we're lifting up the hood and trying to look and see what can we do differently? What can we do to help our guys out? And that'll continue. I mean, that's going to continue whether you're having success or you're not having the success that you would like. So I would say trying to get back on track situations and staying in fewer of those. And then when you're in those, how are you going to combat those? How are teams approaching those different situations? Some teams treat 2nd and call it 10 plus differently than other teams. So just trying to be able to have opportunities to be able to move the ball through those zones. And I think just working through that process with our staff and with our players to be able to continue to be more efficient just in general terms, honestly.
How much of that process that you just described is altered by the health situation with the offensive line? Obviously, y'all had to try to change things on the fly with Tyus being down. Now you got a whole week to prepare with the possibility of him being out. How much of that exact process is changed or altered, kind of given the situation?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to ever make excuses. Like it's our job. It's the National Football League. Like we've got to find a way to move the ball, and we got to be able to find a way to score. So you're always mindful of where you are personnel-wise. Who's playing in what positions. Just in general terms, does it affect protection? Does it affect run game? I mean, it could affect those things. From week to week, whatever. But we've got a group of guys that have worked, quite a while and have a lot of time on task through the spring, through training camp, and our job's to adjust. And that's what we get paid to do, is to adjust and be able to find a way to play our best football when we kick it off on Sundays. So we're spearheading straight ahead and trying to get that done.
Two different fronts. One playing through an injury or a couple of injuries, but also getting some down the field in terms of Dalton Schultz and what he did for you this past Sunday. What did you think of what he's been doing?
Yeah, what was I didn't understand your first question. I'm sorry.
Played through some pain. Had a couple of injuries he was on the report for, and then wound up playing well. What did you think of what Dalton did for you? What he's done all year?
Yeah, he's a pro, and I have a lot of respect for Dalton Schultz. I mean, he gives you everything he has every single day. He's in here from sun up to sundown. He cares. He gets treatment for his body. Like it's the National Football League. No one's feeling 100% or even close to 100% at this point. But he handles everything the right way. He studies the game. He plays his ass off. I have nothing but respect for him and how he approaches the game.
The thought process of going for it on your last possession, kind of take me through that if you don't mind, and then do you regret kind of the way it obviously unfolded, but the way
trying to obviously get a quick completion to get the drive started and basically get into our 2-minute situation. That's what we were trying to do. Didn't execute it well enough and stalled out, and that's not what you want to do. But trying to get quick completion to get us going, get in rhythm, be able to get on the ball and get into our offense where we can get our cleats in the ground and be able to run core plays. That's what we were trying to do. Yes.
When you see like CJ, a guy you obviously have a relationship, have the injury that he had, I just wonder, does that, not that the play had anything to do with it, but does that perhaps maybe change your approach to how you might use him? Does it make you think about it at all?
Yeah, I mean, again, I have a lot of trust in CJ. It's unfortunate. With him, what happened. And I think from my standpoint, I think we're always trying to talk about being mindful for player safety and stuff like that. We always talk about that. So being smart when you are scrambling and stuff and doing the best that you can. And obviously he didn't see that coming. So we just try to educate those situations, and the same way you're coaching on the other side of the ball to be able to protect guys too. But yeah, we'll always talk about being smart. We'll always talk about when you need to slide and all those things. And he's done a really good job of that. Like, he's very mindful of that, and he's a competitor, and he's utilized his legs and done a good job and been smart with the decisions that he's made.
You're, as an offensive coach, what are your thoughts on the league's rule that the defender is having to protect his prey, if you will, and the prey is kind of going down with it, like just the rule itself? What are your thoughts on it, and can you fix it and help it?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on any league officiating or get into that whole world. I think player safety is big. I think that it's important, and I think that I'll leave it at that.
Some late turnovers decided the game the last time you guys played the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Just kind of what needs to happen to avoid those against an opportunity defense like that.
Don't turn the ball over, man. Like, simple as that. They do a really good job. Mix a lot of zone coverages in. They have a lot of sets of eyes on the ball. So, if you're not precise, if there's tips and there's overthrows and things like that and loose balls, then they capitalize. They pursue the ball. They're very well coached. So being able to take care of the ball, we've made progress in that area. We got to keep making progress in that area and be mindful of that. But they thrive on those things, and got to be smart with the football for sure. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.